guys? Welcome back to the Worn Outdoors Network here. And today we got another segment for you, sit and chat with Jacquez. We're going to be talking about firearms. Now, I'll go ahead and give you guys a heads up, at the beginning of this video. It's more so about familiarity, safety, things of that nature. So if you kind of have a background with firearms and you've shot more than 1,000 rounds or so in your life, then you probably don't need to watch this video. But if you're anything like me, you will still keep watching because you never know. You can always learn something when it comes to firearms and safety and things, cool stuff like that, whatever. So we're going to kick this off real quick, this segment, and I'm going to give you guys the background on why I decided to do this video. So a buddy of mine and I, and along with his family, his wife and two boys, we were out shooting not too long ago to this area where we go shoot out here in the desert. It's basically a giant abandoned rock quarry. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically where companies and contractors come through and they dig giant holes inside the mountains and hills and all kind of stuff, looking for minerals and rocks and all kind of cool stuff that we need to build and sustain our ever-growing advancement of life. All right, so I drew a little rough map. Don't mind my drawing skills, ain't the best. So there's a road here that comes in, and there's like this giant hill, and you come around and you're coming up, and then the road continues on throughout. It's like a pavement / dirt road, and then right here is a natural berm. And if you don't know what that is, that's basically something that you shoot into. And it's usually like a big hill or a pile of dirt, sand, rocks, mixtures, you know what I mean. So there's a natural berm set up here that butts up to this road. My buddy and I were at this hill here, and he had his truck backed up right here in the front, rear tailgate facing the hill with all the guns and stuff loaded out, decked out, cool, having fun. And there's another individual right here, and we're just having fun, enjoying ourselves, shooting into the base of this hill, just being guys, letting the kids shoot, and letting his wife shoot and all that cool stuff, learning new stuff, exchanging conversations and stories, all that awesome stuff. Well, we kind of hear almost what sounds like a round ricochet, and we're like, okay, that sounded like a hit off a rock near this area, kind of close to us, and we kind of look at each other like, what the heck? Then it starts happening a little more, but it's less ricochet and more so like rounds going by you. And if you aren't familiar with what that sounds like, that's basically when a bullet comes by you, near you, you're going to hear like a loud pop or almost clicking, or like, I don't know, it's just a weird loud sound that it's very distinctive. Once you've heard it, you can never mistake it for anything else. So we hear rounds coming by us, and we're like, holy shit. Like, okay. We put the kids, we got them behind cover with their mother, and instantly, but without talking simultaneously, basically, there were some rocks over here on the other side of like this little dirt path. And we decide we need to get to those rocks because we could tell there's a shooter somewhere in this area, but we don't know exactly where. So we need to get around and try to almost flank him in a sense, and go tell him like, hey buddy, there's people over here, we don't want to get shot today. So once we get about to the middle of the road area, that's when it gets like super scary, like to the point where, and it was weird though because I stayed calm the whole time, but so my buddy was about 2 feet apart from me, and we literally hear like 2 rounds go right in between us, to the point where like his ears were ringing, mine were ringing just a little bit, like from the speed and velocity of the round being so close going by our head. So instantly, without thinking, we drop down, get belly to the ground, and then once we kind of hear a breaking shots, we'll make a break for it. We'll get to the rocky area over here, find cover, get behind the rocks, looking around, see if we can spot a shooter. And okay, we see the guy, we walk over there to him, and he's reloading at the time, thank God. And we talk to him, communicate with him, basically letting him know like, hey buddy, there is a family over here, we're over here shooting. I understand you can't see us because there's a berm right here, but he's the only shooter over here, so it'd be easy for him to just, instead of firing that way, it'd be easy for him to shift fire and go straight into the berm, and that's what he did and all that, and we walked back. But moral of the story is always be aware of your surroundings, number one, and number two, I would advise you to have some form of knowledge before going to fire a firearm, especially by yourself. So there are many different types of firearms. Basically, they all have different purposes or serve different purposes and different uses and all that. So I'm just gonna run through a few of the basics here with you today, guys and gals. So here we have a pump 12 gauge shotgun. It is clear. There's no round or anything. Generally, these are used for these are like some of America's most prided home defense weapons. Excuse me. Simply because of this sound right here. That right there can stop a burglar who's just outside of your door, unarmed, and he's like, oh, like, they got firearms. Let's go. Like, let's get out of here. I don't want to die tonight. But they can also be used for hunting, for instance, squirrels, birds, like ducks, dove, quail, pheasant, all things of that nature. You can also use them hunting turkeys. You can also use them deer hunting. They make slugs for these things, which is basically like a rifle round, but inside a shotgun shell. And it spins and shoots like a rifle round, accurate at farther distances than your regular, say, double-aught buck or bird shot would go. We also have bolt action rifles, which is one of my favorites. This is my Savage. It's a 6.5 Creedmoor. But these here are primarily used in hunting, whether that be hunting individuals like snipers in the military and law enforcement, or recreational or sport hunting for animals like deer or bear or hogs, what have you. Mainly that's what they're used for. They're not as commonly used for like home defense and things of that nature, because it's not built for that, for lack of a better term. And another rifle we also have, which some people are like, oh my god, this is like mass murder weapon. No, this is just your basic AR-15, which is, it's aircraft loaded. And if you don't understand what that means, it basically means there's rounds in the magazine, but the chamber is completely empty. So yeah, these can be used for the same things as your standard bolt action rifle. They're pretty much the same. The only difference between them, to be quite honest with you, is you don't have to manually right that bolt back and eject that shell casing and slide another one forward and be ready to go. This one does that for you automatically, and you can stay on target and keep firing until you literally have no more ammo. But these are also used for home defense. Law enforcement uses them, military uses them, because of what they are and what they can do capabilities wise, because you can load more ammunition in your magazines, and because there's a faster rate of fire with these firearms versus a bolt action rifle. And there's tons and tons of different companies who make cool like attachments and foregrips for you to grip and put your hand on there and be ready. And they have like adjustable stocks and stuff like that, cool flashlight, all kinds of cool stuff, sling, so you can wrap it around you with your body armor on. Which they make some attachments for other things like those shotguns that I previously showed you, as well as bolt action rifles. But for like AR platforms, there's a grander selection, I would say. And another one that I could also show you, also aircraft loaded, one of the magazines, chamber's empty, a semi-automatic pistol. So this is my Canic. Love this thing. It's great. To me, it's just as good as a Glock, but it's cheaper, so it's even better. Yeah, these are semi-automatic, so similar to the platform of the AR-15. You'll pull the trigger, fire, and that slide will rock itself back and eject that shell casing, and then your magazine will obviously be in through here, and it will grab the bolt carrier group, aka the slide, will grab the next round up out of the magazine and slide it forward into this chamber here, and you're rocking, ready to go, fire again. So, in a sense, firearms are pretty much all similar in different areas and categories. They all are designed to shoot a projectile out of the barrel and all of that cool stuff. But they each serve different purposes. Some overlap, some do not. But what I'm trying to get to you guys today, the main message that I really want you to understand with that demonstration of those firearms, I want you to know that when you're going to purchase a firearm or you're thinking about getting a firearm, I want you to say, hey, let me do my research. Let me sit down and think about why I want this firearm, whether that be just because I want it because it looks cool, or because I need a new rifle to hunt with, I need a new shotgun to hunt with, or I need a home defense weapon, or what have you. Depending upon your preference, will that off rip will guide you in a certain direction. For instance, me personally, I feel like if my wife's like, hey babe, wake up, I hear something, in the middle of the night, it's 2 a.m., completely pitch dark, and I gotta go clear my house and be careful. Gonna grab either my AR or my pistol, but 9 out of 10, I'm gonna grab my pistol before I grab my AR. Number one, my pistol can hold pretty much 8 or 9 rounds less than my AR holds, because I hold like 21, so I don't have to worry about running out of ammo. Number two, which I'm also in my house, so it's another thing you don't really have to worry about. But number two, if I'm worrying if I have kids or dogs or people staying over that night, I consider factors in my head like rounds going through a wall and continuing to go out and somehow exiting my house. Say, what if that wounds a neighbor or something? You know what I mean? I factor all of those decisions into what I grab and why I grab it. So a pistol round is more than likely, like, say there's an intruder and I open my bedroom door and that intruder is standing right there with their pistol trained on me. I'm good to go, bring it up, squeeze off a few, eliminate the threat, and once those rounds pass through, if they do go through and through, they're 9 out of 10 not going to go through my wall after that and exit my house and go through and hit my neighbor. Like, that's more than likely, or someone who's just outside. That's more than likely not going to happen. So, but things like that bring in extra reasons why I feel like you should kind of plan and do research and truly understand what particularly you're looking for, because there's a lot of different options out there on the market. There's a lot of great firearms out there, and not only for that reason, but you could find great deals by simply taking your time and going through and doing the research. For instance, I talked to a buddy the other day, and he wanted a 6.5 Creedmoor, but in store they were out of 6.5 Creedmoor, and they just had 6.5 PRC, so he was like, all right, whatever, I'll just get that. And he got the 6.5 PRC. Unknowingly, he could have ordered, not knowing, he could have ordered that 6.5 Creedmoor online. Maybe it would have taken just a little bit longer to get to him, but he would have had what he wanted. You see what I mean? So simple things like that can factor in decisions of specifically what caliber, what color, what barrel length, all of that stuff, what brand, what you want. So I encourage you to do your research and always remain safe and vigilant, as well as being safe and aware of your surroundings no matter where you are. even if you're not shooting, like even if you're at a gas station and some dude's walking up on you looking all weird and got his hand in his pocket or something, it's always important to be aware of your surroundings. Not only that, though, I also feel that if you're going to carry something or have something that makes holes, you should also have something that repairs them and fixes them. For example, you should have like tourniquets. Every time I go shoot, I take my gun belt with me, which has a med pouch, which has a tourniquet on it, as well as I have another tourniquet on another location on that belt, because you can never have too many of them, honestly. And contents of that medical pouch are things like chest wound packages or chest wound like seals for sucking chest wounds. There's Israeli bandages. There's regular bandages. There's, I believe, another tourniquet in there. There's all kind of medical stuff. There's a tube for your nose, like a vent tube. I have a needle in there for decompression if your lungs are filling up with fluid. There's a lot of things that are important when it comes to firearms and firearm safety, as well as medical safety when it comes to firearms, if that makes sense. So I would encourage you to do your research, not only with firearms, but in the medical department, because to me that is just as important, if not more important, to have some kind of background knowledge of that, to know how to apply first aid and apply a tourniquet and things of that nature. And it's a cool thing, to work with your kids if you have them while they're growing up. Training, there's a drill. You can walk in with a tourniquet and have a timer and say it's your little girl, and you say, hey, baby, I'm going to tell you a leg or arm, and start the timer, and you have X amount of time to put a tourniquet above the wound, 2 inches or inch, however you want to do it, and you explain to them why they're doing it, what it's for, what the timing is for, and you show them how to apply it, how not to apply it, things of that nature. That way they have an understanding and a background knowledge of it, because those are things that, unfortunately, it's becoming more and more important in this day and time with all the shootings and crazy stuff going on. You can never be too safe, which I don't trust anybody anyway. So, yeah. But, yeah, guys, that wraps up the video for today. I just want to say thanks for watching. And like always, I'll leave all my links in the description below for all of our social media, as well as the shop if you want to check out the shop and get any of the Worn Outdoor Network cool merch, like the hat here or the shirt, So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys.